Okay, so history tells us that humans have survived because and in spite of other humans. What do I mean? The earliest form of observable community in the human species was among the hunter-gatherers, that is, the tribal system. Now, if you were part of a tribe, this meant that you had regular access to food, clothing, shelter, reproductive resources, essentially guaranteeing your survival. Now, if you were one of the unfortunate few who were kicked out of a tribe or rejected for whatever reason, just not able to find a tribe to fit into, there was a pretty good chance you wouldn't survive to the end of the week. So, in hunter-gatherer terms, being alone equals death. Now, thankfully, we've come a long way from that, but I don't think we've fully managed to shake off that primal instinct and voice inside that sometimes equates being alone with death. Okay, we'll pause there and look at a more positive perspective. I was recently reading a Harvard study. It's one of the longest ongoing studies. I think it's still running and it's spanned over 80 years, and it looks at the connection between human relationships and longevity. So it looked at this focus group of Harvard students from the 1930s and observed their lives, and as they went on to have your successful lives, your tragic lives, your general trajectory, a whole spectrum of lives. And what they noticed is among the people who had improved health parameters, say for example, lowered blood pressure, the common thread among all these people is that they all said things like close relationships, a sense of community, close connection, someone to fall back on. And the study has proved that having a set of trustworthy, reliable, nurturing relationships can literally save your life, or maybe add like a couple of years. Now, if human connection was as essential to the well-being of the hunter-gatherer as it is to the modern 21st century person, why is it that we are the loneliest generation of the human species to ever exist? That is a very sad and heavy statement, the loneliest generation to ever exist. Now, I think humans have always been very aware of how ephemeral we are and how little time there really is to a lifetime. And that has resulted in every generation desperately trying to permanently imprint themselves in some way onto a constantly shifting universe. We have scratched our stories into rocks. We have buried time capsules. We've sent Beethoven and the Beatles into space. We've done everything, including screaming into the void. I'm here. I have a horrible quarantine haircut and I've run out of milk and I'm here. I exist. I think this need to know and be known, to see and to be seen, to love and to be loved is exactly what drives us to look for relationships, for friendship, for love, for human connection. Now, our generation has connectivity at its fingertips. We have fast modes of transport. I mean, we can't use them right now. We have connectivity across borders. It should be easier than ever to foster human connection, but yet here we are, the loneliest of them all. And as a member of this loneliest of generations, I have had my fair share of struggles with connecting with people. And what I have learned and what's helped me, and I can only speak for myself, but I do think these are things that can help. Okay, so I have 3 things that have helped me. The first being, and I think you already know this one, and it's extremely cliche, and it's cliche because it's true. How can you know, love, and see somebody else if you don't know, love, and see yourself? If you don't do the hard work of looking into yourself and accepting the good, bad, and the ugly of who you are, I think it's infinitely harder to accept the good, bad, and ugly of somebody else. Now, my second tip is to allow yourself to find connection in unexpected places. As a society right now, we've done a pretty good job of dismantling society's ideas of success, of relationship, of what love has to mean, of what a career has to mean, of what an identity has to mean. But I still think we struggle sometimes to fully shake it off. and especially when it comes to things like connecting with people. So if you find yourself creating genuine friendships with people, say in your gardening club, who are 20 years older and younger than you, go for it. If you find your joy in a weird Reddit group, then that's amazing. All I'm saying is let yourself find connection wherever you can. And usually the more unexpected they are, the more nourishing they are, I think, in as far as my 23 years of vast, amazing, meagerly 23 years has told me, the more unexpected they are, usually the more enriching they are, usually. Sometimes you turn around and you'd run for the hills, my friend, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. My third and final tip is for everyone who's a little bit of a romantic, and I am. For the longest time, I thought of the world as bright, bold, beautiful, 100%. And it took me a long time to realize that more often than not, life is boring, it's mundane, it's run-of-the-mill, it's average with its joys and its sadnesses, its triumphs and its disasters. It's life. And while we should be in the pursuit of those big fairy tale moments, and I do believe fairy tale moments exist, and we ought to we should define what that means to us. While we're in the pursuit of those moments, we can overlook those flowers through the concrete kind of connections. What I mean by that is, like your co-worker, someone you've been sitting next to for 2 years, who you know loves David Bowie, and you secretly have always wanted to start a conversation about it with them. Or, the neighbor you see every day when you're throwing out your garbage, who you have sort of a flirtatious vibe with. Enjoy those moments, collect them. Small connections can also be beautiful. And the big moments may happen, they may not. You will have a beautiful collection of odd, nourishing, lovely little moments with people throughout your life. And finally, this is more for me than anyone else, relationships are messy. There is no real formula to it. The best of them have brokenness in them. The most terrible sometimes have moments of beauty. Not all of them, but some do. But I know that if all else fails, something you and I can take comfort in is that we can always reassure the terrified hunter-gatherer inside and the modern 21st century person that you are. You can still look yourself in the eye and say, I see you, I know you, and I love you. And I have to believe that's as good a start as any. Now more than ever, it has to be.